Welcome back to Real Born Flips. I'm Kevin, and this is not our normal setting. Welcome not only to Real Born Flips, but welcome to the island of Tahiti. We are on vacation at the time of this filming, obviously. I'll give you a shot of the background. Not a bad place to be. Enjoying some time away. And for those of you that have not started selling on eBay, or maybe you're selling just every so often, you haven't started a store subscription. One of the benefits of store subscriptions is you can set up a time away, and in this case, we're several weeks away. So I completely shut my store down a few days in advance of our trip just to make sure everything was cleared up. But that's one of the many benefits of having a store that I really like. The mechanism that eBay offers. We're getting ready to go on to a cruise ship, so I'm going to try to film the next video on board for the month of February. So we'll see how that goes. But this month, January, has been really a great example of what Real Born Flips is all about. The stuff that gets passed over, stuff that people don't think about. And so we're going to go through all that in just a few minutes, and then we'll magically jump back here to Tahiti and kind of finish up this video. But really great things. Now, unfortunately for us, on the eBay store, we are taking probably 3 weeks off. So my sales are going to take a big dive. So we'll see what sold in March video we can come up with. Even April will be impacted a little bit, but we're going to do our best with that. My plan when we get back is to really jump into listing, just do as many listings as I can immediately in both stores. And just, I think I've talked about it on this channel, but we have a second store that we started earlier this year. We actually had an account that we've had for a while, so it did have some history before we turned it into a store. Partly because we wanted a little bit of insurance. If anything ever happened to my main store, we'd have a second store up and running that we could also generate income from. Currently, we only have, I think, less than maybe 100 items listed. So we're trying to build that store up just to kind of get it to be our second main store that, for the purposes of extra listings. I want to have about 1,000 listings on the main store, and then we'll have the second store. I'd like to get 1,000 listings there. And I think with 2,000 listing stores, we'll have plenty of sales to keep ourselves busy. So that's the idea. We had talked about that for quite a while in the build up to my retirement. And if you've been following along with my retirement, just before we left on this trip, we did finally get my first penny from the government for retirement. It took a little more than 3 months to get that. So hoping that by the time we're back from this trip, I'll have an actual steady retirement income. It'll be some percentage, like 80% of what I'm supposed to get for probably the first 4 or 5 months. And then once they complete the actual determination, then I'll get the back pay. And then going forward, I'll have some amount. So really, we were kind of prepared for that, but a lot of people that retire or try to retire from federal service just aren't. You don't have the financial flexibility to do that, and eBay reselling has helped us do that. So that was kind of the whole purpose of 5 years ago when we decided to do this for a real business, for real income. That was what we were looking for. So kind of neat to see the 5-year plan of that we've been through starting to bear fruit. So we're going to jump into stuff, but I know you came all the way to Tahiti. You didn't come here for that. You came here to find out what I'm enjoying. And since we're in French Polynesia, I thought I would enjoy an espresso. So that's what we're going to do. And this is a very rich espresso. So we're going to keep enjoying that while we move on to the middle section, go through all of our items, and then we'll jump back in a few minutes.
These Google Chromecast adapters must have come in a box with a bunch of other stuff I bought, because I wouldn't have bought these to resell. In fact, I was thinking about just dumping those off my listings, and someone made an offer and I took it, and they made an offer of $750, and that was perfect. This set of multiple packs of Keyforge or Keyforce, I can't remember, cards. I got them at Goodwill. I paid about $15 for them, which I think was a little high. I thought I was going to get more. I took an offer at $45 to move them along. This little arcade game, I really didn't even want to sell this. I wanted to keep this. It had my favorite games on it. But around here, when we buy stuff to resell, we list it for reselling. And unfortunately, someone came along and bought it at $40. I paid $10 for it. Now, you probably see these. There's all kinds of different sizes. This is a little bit bigger one, so like 10-inch. I've got a couple of the smaller ones. They make even smaller ones and even smaller ones, but this was a good size, and my favorite games on there. A little bummed to see it go, but happy for the flip. Now, I don't even know why I bought this. Apparently this was part of my thrifting before I paid attention to whether or not stuff actually sells. I must have got this cheap. I think actually I think I paid $8 for it, so I don't even think I think I lost money on this deal. Somebody offered $7, and I took it because it sat around for so long, and it was a bad buy. Don't buy stuff like that. So last month you saw a bunch of the Mega Bloks stuff that I bought in a giant tote for $50. Here's some more of it. This is the Ice Fang ship, or it wasn't the complete ship. It didn't have the dragons, didn't have a lot of stuff, but there was a lot of pieces there. And I had sold, my kids had this same set, and years ago I sold it. But I knew that I'd get something for it, and in this case I got $30 for this set. And again, if you're new to the channel, when I say I got $40 or I got $30, my prices are typically something 88, so in this case $29.88, and almost every one of my listings is plus shipping. So, and I do calculated shipping. A lot of people do flat rate shipping, or different versions of that. I do calculated shipping for a couple of reasons. One is I'm on the West Coast, and it's hard for me to know exactly what the shipping is going to cost, because it could be all the way to the East Coast. And if you do flat rate shipping, I can almost guarantee you don't sell to Hawaii or Alaska. And with calculated shipping, that's easy. I sell a lot of stuff to Hawaii and Alaska, and I think it's because I have calculated shipping. This next item is, I sold one of these recently. You heard me say don't buy these anymore. I don't buy these anymore. This one I took an offer at $14 just to get it moved out of here. Funny, right after I sold that one, I found another one at a thrift store, and I was so tempted to buy it, but I remembered myself saying don't buy those. This next item was really neat. I bought it at an estate sale. It was an estate sale that was kind of torqued about because there was a problem with the entrance. And even though I had signed up early, I got left off the entrance list. So I didn't make it in till late. But I did find a few things that turned out to be pretty good. This flag was $8, and I took an offer at $47. I was tempted to keep it, but again, we buy stuff to resell. Okay, here's another, what I term money printing machine. Any of these things like bread machines or juicers or cordless phone sets, I just buy them to part them out, and then I list them, and then eventually they sell. Eventually that money is printed. In this case, this was a bread pan and paddle. I typically won't buy them if the pan and paddle aren't in good enough condition, but um, I'm only I only buy bread machines when I can get them for $2 on discount. And then this one sold for $27.88 plus shipping. Asante is a great brand to look at if you're looking at vintage computer stuff. And I've sold several different Asante devices. This was just a little adapter. If you have a classic Macintosh, the networking was not what you see in today's Ethernet connection. They had their own version. Apple always does that. You need the little dongle to make it work. And in this case, this was the little AAUI dongle to get you to what you've seen in today's networking of Ethernet. I paid $7 for this at a Value Village, and I got my full asking of $45 plus shipping. I don't know why I had this game. I must have bought it back in the days of surely all these games are worth something. I probably paid $10 for it at Goodwill. This was an old one, and it was not sealed. I took an offer at $13 just to get it moved out. It was complete. It was in good shape, but I don't bother with games like this anymore. Oh, an update. I'll try and, if I have a chance, I'll put up a tally showing where I'm at with selling parts from my old refrigerator to help pay for the new refrigerator. This was the little ice bucket assembly. So on the LG refrigerator, you open the door, and then it has the water and ice dispensing. You open that, and then there's another internal cabinet that you open, and this is inside there. It's where the ice is made and crushed and dispensed. And I took an offer at $30 for this, but I'm several $100s in towards paying for a $3,000 refrigerator. Here's another game that I would not have on my normal purchasing anymore, and I'm not even sure I know what I paid. I probably paid $10 for this one. It was a sealed Pictionary game, I think a special anniversary edition. Just not worth buying to flip for me. I took an offer at $17 to get it moved on. Okay, last month you heard about the Franklin Mint Cosmo Chronotrope clock. I'll tell you in the future about the Franklin Mint ball clock that I have. Maybe I'll put a picture up just so you can see. But this was a set of sterling silver flags of the Revolution. And I got this so long ago. I paid like $110, $115 for it. And I just really didn't know what to do with it. But with the price of silver kind of going crazy, I thought, I'm going to see what the value of the silver is and see what it's worth selling. And it turns out I got quite a bit more than the value of the silver. And because I think there was 50 or 60 grams of silver in this. I could be wrong, but I measured out just the silver. And I took an offer at $235 plus shipping. I was happy to do that, and I got great feedback. Okay, one of the things that I do when I'm in Goodwill, I spend a little bit of time in the pet section, always looking for dog collars, like the underground fence type of dog collar, or that style. And in this case, I found this one on the shelf. It was $7, sealed, brand new. Sport dog collar, and they have a bunch of different versions, so you have to really carefully look and see what version you have. But I knew this was going to be good, and after I fended off a bunch of lowball offers, eventually I got a full price $130 purchase plus shipping. Okay, here's another money printing machine, another cordless phone. This is not I normally wouldn't have even listed this because I listed the entire set. But sometimes people want to get that older version. This was the 900 megahertz cordless phone. The full thing, the full setup, the phone, the base, the manual, the AC adapter, all that jazz. I took an offer at 15 and was happy to get it because I don't think I paid anything for this, which is the magic number you want when you're tallying your profits. So this little balloon, red balloon dog tape dispenser. There's a outfit called Made by Humans, which you can read up about it, but I don't even know where we got this. This was my wife's, actually. I think she got it maybe as a gift from a job or something. I'm not sure. And so I didn't pay anything for this, but I thought it would be funny to see if I could sell it. And I got an offer for $15, so we took it. It was funny when I bought this owl ice bucket. It was made in Hong Kong, so that kind of made me think a little bit about it. I paid, gosh, what did I pay for this darn thing? I paid $13 for it at Goodwill, but it just seemed like one of those things that you'd end up being able to sell for at least some profit. I took an offer at 40. I had it listed for a little while and felt like 40 was good enough to get it moved. It was one of those items, you've heard me say this, if I have to keep moving it around to get to other stuff, eventually I'm going to end up taking an offer that's lower than normal. I wanted a little more for this, but 40 was fine. It was pretty cool, but just a hassle to move around. Okay, here's a red background alert. This is an old listing when I used to use my son's baby blanket. You've heard me say that if you've been here. But if not, that's what the red background was from. I switched to white when Google Lens kind of came into being, and it's much more friendly. This was a really cool Dungeons and Dragons set. So I think there's 3 books and the screen in a slipcase. I got this at a garage sale, a really great garage sale. I got some great stuff there. I want to say I paid $40 for this. I made a ton of money on the other stuff, and so I was happy to pay $40 for this. The guy that I bought this stuff from, he just felt like that was as low as he was going to go, and I was fine with it. So I don't shy away from vintage computer stuff like zip drives, tape drives, any kind of weird format drive, because there's always going to be someone out there that has tapes and they need to get whatever's on the tape off the tape. And I found this at a Value Village. It was brand new in the box, everything complete. And I paid $9 for it. And I got a full price offer of $90, which is my times 10, which is what I like to see. I like to see a times 10 purchase. Okay, here's another thing on my don't buy list. I used to have the printers on my buy list, and then those went onto my no buy list. And then I thought, well, maybe I could still sell this ink, and it's now on my no buy list. This came in a box with some other stuff, so I didn't even buy this. It had an ink cartridge and some bunch of envelopes in it. And the guy that bought it, and it was expired by 15 years, something like that, almost 20 years. The guy that bought it, he did pay my full price of $13 plus shipping, but he messaged me and said, hey, some of the prints aren't working out. And I thought, you have to realize when you're buying something that is so old, it might not work. And so I just said, that's how they go sometimes. They're expired. And he didn't message me after that. So I felt bad that happened, but you got to expect that when you're buying stuff like this and it's old. I got this Cubase. It's basically some software. From a estate sale, I bought a ton of kind of professional recording equipment. This was in there. I didn't buy this on purpose. It just was part of the stuff I bought. And I thought there's got to be some value to this. And so I finally listed it. I didn't know what to ask for it, so I just put $100, and wouldn't you know, I got $100 for it. So happy to see that move along. The other stuff that I bought with it was pretty expensive, so I actually counted this as a $50 purchase. So I made a times 2. Okay, I was super bummed when I got this, not because of this, but bummed that I didn't get the other stuff. This estate sale went so long. I think it finally ended after 11, and I even set an alarm to wake myself up so I could bid on something that was towards the end. And I woke up, but then I fell back asleep. Never bid on the stuff that I really wanted. That was similar to this I call it quackery. It's, apologize if this is something that you use. I wonder how this stuff actually works, but this actually turned out pretty good. I paid $35 for it after fees at this estate sale, and I got my full asking of $180 plus shipping. Wish I'd gotten the other stuff because it was even better. I bought this. It was in a bag, kind of a card game, board game, card game. I didn't pay too much for it. I think I paid $10 for it. It seemed pretty like it would be valuable. I don't think I comped it necessarily because it had so many different expansion packs, and two of them were sealed new. So I didn't really know what to do with it. I struggled with getting it listed, finally listed it, and it sold pretty quickly at my list price of $50. So I went from 10 to 50, so times 5. So this was kind of a bummer. I bought this CD case at Goodwill, and gosh, I paid $7 for it, and I just had a sense that it was going to be good because I've gotten a few other CD cases similar to this and done well with them. I got my full asking of $30 plus shipping. This one went international, and at some point in time, I got an email from eBay, or a message from eBay, telling me that the item could not be delivered to the destination, and so therefore it was being refunded, and nothing that I had to deal with. I still got my $30, but it couldn't. It went to Saudi Arabia, and I was curious if maybe something in the title caused this one to be rejected, and the only thing I could think is jewel, so maybe there was some concern with the word jewel in there, but who knows. So I think I made a mistake on this one. I got a whole bunch of Imaginext stuff at an estate sale, big huge tote, tons of figures, tons of vehicles and whatnot, and I have a bunch of SpongeBob, like the houses and vehicles and things, and I think somehow I got them separated because I don't remember buying these SpongeBob Imaginext figures, but I sold them, and now I think I just have the vehicles left. So kind of a bummer because I probably could have got a lot more for these if I had the vehicles with the figures, but I did get $60 for these, and they actually sold really fast, so I'm sure I underpriced them. I think, I don't know. If I bought these separate, I would have paid about $10 for them. So here's a set of phones that I didn't split up into pieces. I was very tempted, but it was such a nice set, had the box, had everything complete, looked brand new. So I decided to try and sell these as a set. And I did end up getting my full asking of $30, which, in hindsight, I might have gotten that just by selling the handsets individually, but it was fine. There's always someone who wants the whole deal, so it was easy to ship and easy to list. So here's some Skylanders. Now, I don't buy these because there's so many different ones, and you gotta really look and see, is this one worth selling? This one worth buying? I got this entire bag way back. This was an old buy. Way back at a Value Village for $7, and it's been listed for a long time. It's not a red background listing, but it has been listed for quite a while. But eventually, something happened, and I got my list price of $40. So I got several of these Captain Kirk glasses, Dr. Pepper glasses, at a garage sale. I think I got like 7 or 8 of them. I paid $1 a piece. They kind of made me realize I don't like shipping glass. I I just don't like it. Every time I sold one of these, I had to deal with trying to package it and make sure it got to its destination without getting broken. In fact, I thought they did get broken because I got a message from somebody wanting a refund because the stuff arrived broken. Turned out it wasn't even my stuff that I sold the person, so they figured it out. But these were kind of cool glasses. I mean, old 1976 Captain Kirk glasses. They bought 2 of them. I've got one left. If you're out there and you want a Captain Kirk glass, hit me up. So sometimes you find the most unusual things at a thrift store. And I saw this on the shelf for almost a couple of weeks actually. I saw it. I just never looked at it, didn't try to figure it out. And then I noticed it was all the way down to $2 on discount day. And I thought, well, I'm going to take a stab at that. And turns out these things are quite desirable by people who make their own edibles. And so that's why I have edibles in the title. It worked. It was kind of cool. I did end up taking an offer at $63 plus shipping, but I only paid $2 for it. So well over my times 10 on this one. And I got great feedback on it. Here's some great binoculars. I've done really well with certain binoculars. If I find like an older pair that have Carl Zeiss lenses, I almost always buy them, and I almost always do really well. This set, I still paid quite a bit for it. I think I paid $25 at an estate sale, but I was just shocked at how nice it was. I mean, it looked like they had never been used. The case looked perfect. The binoculars looked perfect. So I bought them. I knew I would get at least what I had in them. I priced them at $80, and I got my full asking. Here's another money printing machine. I just buy them, I list them, they sell, money gets printed. This is sort of a money printing one. These Mr. Coffee iced tea pitchers and the actual machines. I buy them when I can get them cheap. To be honest, I have not sold a ton of them. In fact, I have a lot right now in inventory, so I probably will just kind of coast on buying more of these. But there's a bunch of different versions, so you got to get the right version with the right pitcher. But my mom had this kind. I remember she always made iced tea in this thing, and I got this one for just a couple of dollars. Yeah, $2 at Goodwill, and I took an offer at $18. Right after I sold this one, I got another one, and they have a little defect on them. They're supposed to hook into the pitcher, the machine, and this one, the little hook was broken off in the base, and the one I just bought was broken off in the base. So I just relisted. I didn't even take new photos. I have the new one listed. We'll see what happens. So here's a device that I got at the free donation rummage sale. Wasn't actually sure what it was at first, but turns out it was a kind of a cool universal type touchscreen remote made by Sony. I can't help but buy Sony stuff, but in this case I didn't hardly buy it at all. I paid basically $1 for it. Finally tested it, finally listed it, and in this case there is a different version of this that's more desirable. So this was the less desirable version, but I was still able to get $40 for it on offer. Okay, here's a set of Chuck Missler Bible audio cassettes. And what's funny about this is I stopped by my my post office, and there's a place where people leave stuff, like if they want to, just here you can have it. And a lot of times I'll get books there, and I've sold several books that I've gotten on that in that stand. This isn't like a book loaning thing. This is free to take stuff. And someone left 3 totes of Chuck Missler cassettes. These were the kind of the general ones, and then I've got a ton of the Bible expository cassettes that I'm working on listing. But really cool. Hoping to do well. I took an offer at $25 for this set, and I don't have anything into these. And I got 3 new large totes to use for other stuff. More money printing cordless phones. I took an offer at $15. This buyer is someone who's bought cordless phones from me before, so Hopefully they keep coming back because they make offers, but they're still good offers for me. I love this kind of drafting stuff. I'm a retired engineer. I remember the days of drafting, and I still have my set of drafting tools, but not as nice as these. These were really nice. I got these at an estate sale for $12, and I just knew they would sell. These they're German made. They're just incredible precision instruments. And I took an offer at $55 for an international sale. Here's another mystical book that came from a large lot of mysticism / religion books. I had a lot of Bibles, a lot of books like this. This was a first edition something, and I got my asking price of $50. I think I'm now in the black after 2 sales of selling books out of that lot. I've got a ton of books to go. I was happy to sell these Pampered Chef heart cookie molds. We got these at a garage sale years ago, these and a few more, and I broke them up into 2 lots, and I think we paid $5 for all of them, so say $2.50 for this set. I took an offer at $20 finally to get them moved along. Offered the other ones to the buyer, but she already had several of them, so she didn't want to add those. Here's a great camera, a little PowerShot camera. The kind of camera I used to not buy because I thought these were too old and no one would want these. But these run on AA batteries, so that's really cool, really convenient. You don't have to have a special battery. You don't have to have a special battery charger. And they're still good enough that the photos are still good. And I totally just disregarded these for a long time until I finally bought one and listed it. And in this case, I got my full asking of $140. Now this camera, I was a little bit disappointed, mostly because I got it for so cheap at my St. Vincent de Paul thrift store. I paid $8 for it. It was complete. It actually had more stuff than what I listed. But the battery door wouldn't stay shut. But the battery would stay in it. Just the door wouldn't necessarily stay shut. And so I was really bummed because the camera was really nice. And so I thought, well, I'll still list it. I'll just say door issue, because I did notice a few other listings that mentioned a door issue. So I priced mine right in there, and I got my list price of $60 for an $8 purchase. That's pretty good. And I have a few of the things that I didn't sell that came with the camera. So here's a flight yoke. This is a CH Products flight yoke. I get these occasionally, and there's not much as far as if you're going to really test them. You're not going to buy software to test them. So I just plug them in, make sure that nothing looks out of ordinary and that the computer recognizes the device. But I was able to list this and sell it. And I got my full asking of $60. And I think I paid, I paid $15 for it. So I didn't, it wasn't super cheap, but I knew I'd get at least 15, so I was fine with that. I was fine with this too when I bought it, because I figured out it was Mega Bloks, and I've done well with Mega Bloks stuff. It looked like a unique piece, and so I paid $6 at Goodwill for it, and I got a $30 offer, and I took it. Here's another model. I had a bunch of models that I got. I think I paid a little bit too much for them, but they've been selling, and I've been getting enough for them. I got my full asking of $30 for this one. And one thing you should know when you list stuff like this, especially this World War II German era stuff. So I paid $13 for this and got $30. But when you list stuff, be careful. Like I just used some little sticky notes to cover up things that eBay would consider sensitive in your photos, namely German markings. So that's what that's for. I did note in my listing that's what that was for. But just, you don't want your listings to be removed for something simple like that. So this Sangean radio, this is kind of funny. It's taken a circuitous route. I had bought it. I think I bought it at a Goodwill for $10. It was nice enough, just not super great. And I ended up taking an offer at $65. I shipped it, and eventually the buyer messaged me and said, "Oh, it looks like I put the wrong address, so let me know if it shows back up." Well, I forgot all about it, and then she messaged me again, and she said, "Oh, it looks like it got delivered." So sure enough, it came all the way back. So here's my question to you: is what would you do in this case? The buyer asked if I would refund them and then relist it and resell it to them minus, refund them minus the shipping charge. They at least knew I wasn't going to be able to refund their shipping. But the question is, especially for stuff like this, it's taken 2 trips around the country now. Would you discount what you refunded them for maybe the possibility that it's not working or not working as well as it was, or would you just refund them their full price minus shipping and then relist it and sell it to them again? In my case, she offered to buy it. I decided what I would do is, instead of taking it back out, retesting everything, I would relist it as parts and repair. And I relisted it, parts and repair, at the price that she paid originally at $65. So I messaged her, sent her her refund, told her it was relisted, told her why it was relisted the way it was. We'll see if she buys it. I keep my eye out for chess pieces, vintage chess pieces, and I found this set in a little tin with, these were hand turned, or you could tell they were hand carved because they were all just tiny, a little bit different, but really cool looking, neat box. You could tell they were old, and it was complete. And I had a lot of people wanting this stuff. They just didn't want to pay what I was asking. And eventually I got a good enough offer, I felt, for $55. And so I was able to sell this $10 set of chess pieces and get $55. So not bad. I sell remotes regularly. I used to buy them regularly, but my Goodwill, the person pricing remotes has gone literally insane. They just price every remote at least $5. And so now there's just a huge pile of remotes, and then like every couple of weeks it's like they just toss them all out and start again. Really, really annoying. So I do dig through on discount day and see if I can find anything, but I will pull ones out that I know I'll be able to sell. And in this case, I was able to get this Yamaha remote. I paid $2 for it, so that was good because I got my $20 asking price. So I got my times 10 on it. I got this. This is part of a Ninja food processor money printing machine here. I bought this set at a garage sale. You've heard me in the last couple of months talk about the pieces I've been selling. It was a high-end Ninja, so it had the geared motor base, and the motor didn't work, so I tossed that. But I have been selling off the parts. This is just another part. I got I paid $5 for everything, so pennies into this one, and I got my full asking of $13. And this is just the 2 pieces that are the pusher that pushes food down into the food processor. So you saw last month I sold a Galaxy's Edge droid. This isn't the same. This is a tiny little, much smaller, just a regular old animatronic droid you'd buy at Target or wherever. But it was cool enough. I could tell it worked because it had batteries in it at the store, and I could test it right there. I paid $7 for it. I took an offer at $22. I thought it was going to be worth more, and I just didn't see the value in it. So I did see the value in this. This was kind of a vintage computer board. So back when the old TV standard, this would allow you to watch TV on your computer and record TV. So think pre-streaming, pre-cable DVRs, pre all that. And the best thing about this one was I got this at a garage sale for free. So I didn't have anything to do it, and I got $50 plus shipping. Here's another awesome money printing machine bread pan. I took an offer of $15 for this one. I think because I thought that the wear on the pan was a little much. This was the guy that he ended up filing a return request because he said the glasses were broken in shipment. And so I had to message him and ask him what he meant, and he was really apologetic. He said he hoped his request didn't cause my account to have any dings on it, and it didn't. But so I was appreciative that he at least thought about that. So here's some more of the books from that Mystic Religion set. This was 2 books. I took an offer at $25. So well in the black on those black books. Okay, this was a unique item. Ubiquity is a great brand to look for. I've done really well with Ubiquity when I find it. In this case, this was a small router sealed that I got on the shelf at my Goodwill that's in my town. I normally don't shop at because they never have anything good. It was $4, brand new, sealed. I sold it, I'd say within a day, for $130. And then this is the funny part. I've never had this happen. I've had drop shippers buy stuff from me. I've never had this happen. And I'll put a couple of screenshots up there. They did not want me to put any of my documents in there, but they did have a document they wanted me to put in there. So I've never had that happen where a drop shipper, in this case, they didn't try to say it was a gift for their uncle. They just said, here's the invoice you need to put in there. Don't put your invoice in there. Now, unfortunately for them, I always put my invoice in there because that protects me in the event of a damaged shipment. So unfortunately, they did get my invoice. I did kind of hide it in the box. I did put their invoice in there, but that was unusual. So you saw me sell a big Brinsea incubator a couple of months ago. This was the other one I had. I had this one for a long time and finally listed it. I let it sit for a little bit. Finally, I got an offer at $50. I thought that was good enough. I only paid $10 for it, so I was happy to see it move along. One less thing to move around. Okay, here's another one of these Wi-Fi routers that you hear me complain about selling, and that I won't sell them unless I get them in the box, or, and here's my thing, or they have a unique feature. And in this case, it's easy to tell on these. You just look at them, and if they have the cable connection, that means they're a cable modem. So that's what I did. I found this one. I could tell it was a cable modem Wi-Fi router, and so I looked it up, and that's the other good thing about this is I only paid $20 for it, and which I think was high. I think Goodwill doesn't normally price loose ones up that much, but in this case they did. It was worth it to me because I knew I'd sell it pretty quickly, and in this case I took an offer at $125 relatively fast. Okay, this was another cool item. I've had a couple of these in the box, kind of vintage Farberware devices. You saw me sell a couple of months ago. I sold a fry pan to a couple who was replacing the one they got on their wedding 47 something years ago, and they were super happy. And in this case, this was the kind of the inside your house broiler rotisserie. I don't know, that was a thing, I think. But it was really nice, didn't look used, was complete in the box, and I boxed it in another box just to be safe. But I did pay quite a bit for it. I paid $25 at Goodwill, but I took an offer at $125. I felt like a $100 profit was good on this. It was big. It was always in my way, so happy to see it move. Here's another item I was happy to see move. I was happy to finally get what I wanted for it, which was my asking price. And I've gone back and forth on this one. I got this on the shelf at Goodwill, a sealed Battle Masters game for $6. Now I bought it pre YouTube, so I didn't come home from the store and talk about it on YouTube, video. But I have had a few different comment communications with Wick from Flipping Junk, because he's had these and he's talked about selling these, and I told him I had one, and he suggested I raise the price on it to see if that would sell it. I raised it, and then I did end up lowering it back down, but it was interesting to see how to get things to sell. And I think what it really comes down to is listing gets your stuff sold. The more I'm listing, the more stuff I'm selling, and more older stuff that I'm selling. This was a great buy. Really super happy that I happened upon it, and for $6 to get 420 for it, that's awesome. That's what you'd love, that kind of stuff as a reseller. So I kind of went on a spree of buying little bagged toys at Goodwill, and these Five Nights at Freddy's toys were not that much, $7. They just weren't in great shape. There was a lot of damage to them, so I eventually just took an offer at $18 just to move them along. I would have got more if they just were in better shape and had maybe more pieces. So my kids grew up listening to these Star Wars dramas, radio dramas on CD. You can find these if you Google around. You can find episodes out there available. I still have our CDs, and I never let my kids use them. I just copied them onto other CDs, and then they were able to kind of junk those around. But these were two of the sets. So I think the first and second movie, of these CD sets. So not all three movies of the original radio dramas, but these came from a these came in a set of stuff that I got at an estate sale. Not what I was trying to buy, but they came as part of it, so it was perfect. Because I basically had a couple of dollars into these, and I got my full asking of $35. So you heard me talk about the Mr. Coffee iced tea makers. This was one that I got at Goodwill in the box, the whole set in the box, used but in the box. I paid $10 for the whole set. I took an offer at $30. I wish I could get more. I've got a couple other sets that aren't in the box I'm hoping to sell. So I think I just need to lower my prices on the other stuff, get them moved. I got this little microphone, so it would attach to your camera, a deity. I used to buy this stuff just without even paying attention. I'd put it in the cart and buy it. I paid $8 for it. It just wasn't valuable enough. It wasn't desired enough. It finally sold at $25, but I try to not buy stuff like this if I can help it. I do buy these though. I look for them at least, and I found this one, and I knew it was it's a power adapter for a laptop, but it was for a Asus kind of a gaming laptop, so a little higher end. I figured it would be more desirable. I paid $5 for it at Goodwill. I took an offer of $25. I figured that was good enough. Here's another handset, another cordless handset. I took an offer of $10 on this one. Pennies into that. Print money has been printed. Okay, so this is more of the dragon. So we had the first set of 6 big dragons and eggs for $160. Then we had some parts of different castles, and then we had the ship, and now here's the set of smaller plasma dragons for $160. So we're over $400, closing in on $500 on that $50 purchase. So awesome buy. this was another awesome buy too, and I knew it was going to be because I could see it in the picture of an estate sale purchase, and I actually got two sealed AFX slot cars. This was probably the more desirable one. It's a Ford GT40, and I can't remember what the other car is, but I still have it. But I just priced these up, and I just held. I'd get offers every so often, but I kept my ask price, and then eventually I got this $168 offer, and I was happy to take it because I did not pay very much at all for the whole set of stuff I got, which included these two cars and a bunch of other slot cars and a bunch of other slot track. So well in the black on this. These little figures came in a bag with some other stuff, and I made a bet with myself that I could sell these three little figures. I figured out what they were, and so I just listed them, and I took a $3 offer just to prove myself right. I could sell three little figures that I found in a bag of stuff. I would not buy these just to sell, though. Here's a great camera. This was last month. You saw the camera that the underwater camera that I sold. I had to buy 3 different lots to get the full set. Similar here, I had to buy 2 different lots to get everything that went with this camera. But it was worth it. It was a really cool camera, like one of those ones that you would keep if you didn't have another camera. Really nice condition. Had some cool accessories. I took an offer at $212, and I had basically, out of the 2 lots I had to buy, I had $93 into this camera. So I had quite a bit into it, but it was still a good flip, and it sold fast. So I've complained about not selling Breville. They just haven't been a good money printing machine as far as juicers go. I think they're just too well made because they don't break, apparently, or you don't break them just using them. But I did sell 3 of these blades, and so I don't buy the Breville ones anymore. But I'm slowly getting rid of pieces of Breville juicers. Happy to see these 3 blades go. I took an offer at $15 for 3 of them. I only had pennies into this. I knew I used to do a lot of backpacking. I grew up backpacking in the area. We live in Western Washington, lots of places to backpack, and I know backpacking cookware when you just know it when you see it. I saw this on the shelf at Goodwill. It was only $6. I knew it was going to be good. It had an alcohol stove in it as part of it, and I wasn't sure what to price it at because there just wasn't stuff like this, but I ended up taking an offer at $75, which was great because once again I did my times 10, greater than times 10 on this. Really cool set. Happy to see that. Okay, I have been waiting for this day for a long time. I found this Lisa Frank stationery set on the shelf at Goodwill for $7. You even had a little piece of gift wrap paper on the back that I'm sure that little Tammy got it from Grandma and didn't want it, was mad about it, so they just gave it to Goodwill 10 years later. We were excited because we had just watched the Lisa Frank documentary on Netflix, and actually made a short about this purchase. But I had it priced up. I wasn't going to take less than $150, so I was glad to see a $150 offer come in, and I was able to move that along. It was also one of those things I kept having to move. So here's another Sangean radio. This one wasn't as good, but I didn't pay too much for it. I paid $12 for it, $13 for it. I still got my asking of $50. It was nice little radio, just didn't have any amazing features for it. Okay, and here's the very last item for the month of January. This was the second of 2 Nerf guns, vintage Nerf guns that I got at Goodwill, new in the box. This one I paid $13 for. It was the less valuable one of the 2. I got my full asking of $80 for this one. Really happy to see that go.
And we're back. So, like I said, a lot of great items. One thing you might have noticed in this video, you might notice this in all of my videos because I kind of share some of the details of things I bought and why I bought them. But I also share why I would not buy them again. I My professional life that I'm retired from included a lot of auditing, in engineering, but auditing, performance review, performance improvement. And so I kind of put that to use in my eBay work. Um, Namely, when I have a bad buy, try to figure out what got me there, try to do something to prevent me from getting there again. Um, you saw last month where I talked about how I shipped the wrong item to the wrong buyer. Um, put some things in place to prevent that from happening. So I'm constantly trying to refine my tool bag for reselling, so that I can improve my thrifting, improve my listing, my selling, my packing, my shipping, any of that stuff. And so that's something I would really encourage you to do as a reseller, no matter what level you are, is to consistently review your performance. And I don't mean like an in-depth, kind of in-depth thing, but just on occasion, especially when you notice something that didn't quite work out. Like I had a couple of bad buys in this last month that I sold, but and I look at those and go, well, how did I buy that? Why did I buy that? And what led me to buy it? And just kind of sharpen those tools, refine those tools, and keep your tool bag working for you and not against you. I one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel was because I found that when I talked to people, just in passing, or friends that knew I did this, that a lot of people were just super interested because it looks so difficult. They just really just can't fathom doing this themselves. And really, what I would say is it's not that hard at all, especially now with eBay. I started buying and selling stuff. And I pretty much would buy stuff on eBay and then turn around and sell it on eBay. It was very easy to do that back then because eBay didn't force you to list your items in a certain manner, in a detailed manner. So I would scour eBay for things that I knew were valuable but were listed in a way that didn't appear valuable. I made thousands of dollars selling Apple Newton serial dongles. So I'll put a picture up on the screen, but and I think in this video I talked about the Apple, the Asante dongle that I sold. And Apple has this way of forcing you to buy little teeny adapters that are so easy to lose but so important. And that was really one of my first real, hey, I can make money doing this. And this was back right around 2000 when the Newton had been discontinued, and I started buying Apple Newtons and selling. I'd buy large lots of them and then sell them off in pieces, and just made thousands of dollars doing that. And realized, I kind of wish I realized right then that I should start a business doing it. But at the time, our kids were, we only had 2 of our 3 kids at that point. So our kids were very young, and we were busy with starting our family, raising our family, buying a house, all that stuff. So future me would have told back then me, hey, think about this, think about doing this as an actual business. I wish I would have done that, because it really is not that hard. Back then shipping was much harder though. eBay didn't handle shipping for you at all. You basically had to ship the item to your buyer. And I shipped, there was no eBay International, so I shipped international all over the world. I shipped items. PayPal wasn't joined. There was a time when PayPal wasn't joined with eBay, then it was joined with eBay, then it's not joined with eBay. But eBay had BillPoint, and so I could take PayPal, I could take BillPoint. I took personal checks, I took cashier's checks, I took money orders from all around the world, and I never had a problem with that. I never had any issues with something I sold and payment I received. I mean, to be honest, I never had an issue. I learned a lot about shipping. I would go to the post office and tell the post office people how to ship an item international, because you would ship things like registered mail. For the U.S. shipping into Canada, there was some issues with the Canadian postal system, and how they have different places. Like basically, you could have your mailbox at like a 7-Eleven, which is kind of crazy. So there was a lot to learn, but it was for me, from the way my mind works, it was very interesting to learn that stuff. And at one time I had a world map, and I would just put a pin in whatever country I shipped something to. And I was shipping to Eastern Europe. Now, I wouldn't do any of that today. I only use eBay International Shipping. I don't ship separately international. It's changed. So at the time, it was interesting that you could do that. And I certainly wouldn't take money orders from any of the Eastern Bloc countries. I guess what I was kind of getting to was, it's really not that hard. You should try it. Now, for anyone who doesn't have an eBay account now and you want to start selling on eBay, be prepared for an initial onslaught of scam people trying to scam you out of anything you're selling. Just be aware of that, and just follow the standard eBay guidelines, which is when you sell something, you ship it to the address that eBay gives you to ship it to. That's number one scam is, hey, why don't you ship it to this other address? That number one is only ship items after you've been paid and ship them to the address that eBay gives you. That will keep you out of 90% of the problems. The other problems come after sales, and maybe after delivery. Hey, this is broken. I want some money. Why don't you just give me some of my money back? Just kind of decide early on how you're going to handle that stuff. My policy is, if someone contacts me and says, hey, this isn't quite what I wanted, is I issue a return. I authorize a return request. I ask them to send me a return request. I tell them I will send them a return shipping label. I never offer partial refunds. If your eBay account is new and you're selling stuff, you're going to get those. So just ignore that stuff. Just offer a return shipping label. There will be times where you lose money on sales. Just expect that. It's the cost of doing business. But that goes away once you get a little bit of run time in your store. Those things start to go away. Our second store, we had maybe 50, 60 sales, and those scam things disappeared. So I encourage you to give it a shot. I guess the last thing I would say if you're starting is pack your items the way you would want to receive something. If you have something that's a little fragile, don't put it in a plastic bag and ship it, because you wouldn't want to receive it that way. And you will definitely get negative feedback, you'll get negative comments, you'll get negative everything. You will lose money if you don't ship items in a safe and secure manner. that seems to be the kind of the key parts of starting. I do want to offer value. I kind of work on I call it the value for value model, which is I'm trying to give you some value. You watching videos, subscribing to the channel, liking videos, sending comments, sharing videos is the value you return to me. So I want to give you as much value as I can. There are no communities to join. There's no plus content somewhere else that you got to pay for. There's no Patreon, none of that stuff. This is the premium channel content is all here, all free, not behind any kind of weird paywalls. I don't know why people do that. It's odd to me that you would want to not allow people to see the content you're generating unless they pay a little extra for it, or maybe pay a little extra to see it earlier. That confounds me. It does not work in the scheme of trying to be a content creator where you want to share content. So you won't get that here. You will just get the premium stuff all for free all the time as soon as it comes out. So thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please do that. That really helps me. I really would like to move this channel forward. That's, we started, we started a little over, maybe a year and a half ago. I had no previous experience with, really no previous experience with video editing or anything like that. So I'm learning on the fly as I go, trying to improve things, trying to get more information out more often, and let's see where we can go with that. So appreciate you for doing that. Thank you for doing all those things. And we're going to enjoy some more of Tahiti before we get on the cruise ship and enjoy some more of the not only French Polynesia, but some other places as well. So thank you for joining me, and as I always say, see you again next time.